Hey guys, how's it going? I'm back with the new episode of 10 metal bands you haven't heard but should. I've got a bunch of stuff as well, so the next episode's going to happen fairly soon, I would think, maybe give it a week or so. I have changed shirt, but this one has come back into the cycle, my new Tomb Mold one, so it's not that I've washed it since the last video. We've got a nice mix of stuff here. I've been listening to a lot of Doom stuff, now it's getting to October. The Doom metal, I think, always suits the autumnal mood, but first up, to completely contradict that, Bloodfeast, Hell's Headbangers. You guys may be familiar with these guys. They're kind of like quite thrashy, old school death metal, thrash kind of thing. Now, while they're more on the lines of a thrash metal band, there is a lot of stuff that's similar to Possessed and Obituary in here, so if you like that sort of as thrash became death, that kind of very early kind of proto-death stuff, I think you guys will really dig I can't speak today. Bloodfeast. It's a really cool release. They did a mini album as well this year or last year. I think I remember reviewing it. Maybe it was the year before last. I don't know, but this album is absolutely killer. I got it with some other bits at a local record shop, and it's a killer find because Bloodfeast rules. Next up, I think, on the topic of Doom Metal, it's a necessity to talk about what for me so far is the best Doom Metal album of the year. I'm talking, of course, about Crypt Sermon on Dark Descent Records with the Ruins of Fading Light. They are very traditional Doom Metal, akin to Candlemass, Solstice, those kinds of earlier bands. Maybe some Paradise Lost at points, but more the other two. If you like traditional Doom, you will love this because it has those huge anthemic vocals, melodic but kind of mournful guitar riffs, the kind of pounding drums. It's just a killer release. Pure, majestic Doom Metal, and I love it. I play it so much. Key of Solomon, Our Reverend's Grave, and Christ is Dead are probably my favourite songs, but all of it's really good. Also Beneath the Torchfire Glare. This is one of those releases, I think, if this is your bag, if you're into traditional Doom Metal, you're going to be playing it constantly. If that's not your bag, you're going to fucking hate it. Simple as that. But it is just such a good release. Aside from Doom, I think it will also appeal to fans of slower but classic heavy metal. Anyway, on the subject of traditional Doom, Dread Sovereign, they are on Van Records. This is For Doom the Bell Tolls, great title. Very catchy, ritualistic Doom Metal, a bit more kind of stonery maybe than Crypt Sermon, but it's still very riff-driven, very mesmerizing, and very anthemic Doom Metal. So, I think this one maybe will have been more overlooked than Crypt Sermon. It's from 2017, I think. It doesn't actually say. No, I think that's when it's from anyway. It's a really good release though. They're playing in the UK as well at Cataleptic Rites, along with Saturnalia Temple I mentioned before, so that'll be really cool. Next up, an LP. This video is mostly CDs because a lot of my LPs and tapes are sort of harder to get to, so I've adjusted for that. But this is Calls from the Forest. Call from the Forest, not pluralized, single call, by Vegard. This is a UK project which has been done anonymously by Grond and Count Vornok, released by UCAM Records. There's tapes which are probably sold out in black and white, vinyl in black and white due to a mispress, and also CDs. Vegard has this kind of quite typical atmospheric black metal sound like Woods of Desolation and stuff like that, where a very simple, chordy, melancholic riff is layered and layered and layered to create this really dense, forest-like sound. I think, as far as the genre goes, it is quite standard, but that is not necessarily a bad thing because it does tick all the boxes. It's really enjoyable. You know, if you're listening to music in the evening and you fancy something you can be completely lost in, this is definitely going to deliver that experience. I think with this kind of stuff, it is quite hard to be experimental with as well. Sort of it can either end up more keys driven or more kind of guitar driven, but it has to stay quite simple to get that kind of hypnotic effect, which Vegard do incredibly well. Quick track recommendation would be the title track, Call from the Forest, and also where am I? Ancient Sigils. That was another really cool one. Now for some death metal, because it appears I've been doing a lot of death metal stuff recently, and that's simply because, as I think I've mentioned before, with black metal I'm a lot pickier. I like, when a good black metal release is done, I will probably prefer it to a death metal release of equal quality because I prefer black metal. But that being said, with death metal I think there's a lot more good acts just doing the old school thing that I dig. Whereas with black metal I look for something a bit more special maybe, but you know, it is what it is. I've got some black stuff in here as well that's actually pretty typical, but we'll get to that. Now we have Imprecation. I believe they're Spanish or Italian, I think. I'm pretty sure they're a Mediterranean band anyway. It's on Dark Descent Records. It's their new album, Damnatio ad Bestias, or Bestias. I don't speak Latin at all. Now, a lot of you may remember, if you've been watching my videos since last year, how much I was talking about Crawl from Sweden, who are like a Swede death band with some kind of D beats, really driven kind of kicking groove and kind of more punky drums. Now Imprecation, they don't have the HM2s and stuff like that, or at least I don't think so. It's not as obvious if they do, but they do have this very kind of swirling yet punchy, crusty sound that is just absolutely killer. Like, if you want some death metal that'll really shake your brain up first thing in the morning, Imprecation is where you need to be at, because this album is just ferocious and so damn intense. Now, next up, we have a EP from Iron Bonehead. This is Grabunhold, I believe you would say it. They're German, with the title, which I'm going to butcher, which is Unter dem Baume der Toten, I assume. I don't speak German, as you may have guessed from that. 4 tracks, it's only about 17 minutes. Of just pure old school Finnish style black metal like Satanic Warmaster, Sargeist, those kinds of bands. It's really piercing. It's got cool like piercing riffs, but also with that Finnish groove. But they're German, not Finnish, so it's different. But no, seriously, this is a killer EP or mini album, however you want to call it. Really kind of spectral soundscape, maybe some Canadian black metal like Monarch and Fortress coming through in the sound a bit that really does feel icy and despairing, but in a really powerful melodic way. Now, on the note of talking about Satanic Warmaster style bands, this is Warwulf. Now, I did a review of this and their second album for Legions of Darkness magazine here in the UK. I really dig both. They're both absolutely immense. But the first one for me, maybe just because it's slightly shorter, it's more to the point and sort of there's less filler, so it has this really compact, intense experience. That being said, check out the second one. But this is The Archetype of Destruction on Darker Than Black, Tor's Hammer Productions and Merchant of Death distributor. I was talking with the owner of Legions of Darkness, and apparently these guys are much more influenced by the bands like Vlad Tepes and stuff like, and Mutilation and stuff like that, which does make sense when I'm hearing a strong resemblance to Satanic Warmaster and Sargeist, as those bands do indeed draw a lot of inspiration from the same source. But to me, when I heard this and when I wrote the review, I just thought it was straight Satanic Warmaster worship, which is not a bad thing. They're one of my favourite bands. So if you do like either the Finnish black metal, like Satanic Warmaster, Sargeist, the Hexen, Horner, etc., Goat Moon to a point. But yeah, actually, maybe not Goat Moon. That's a lot more melodic and folksy and stuff. But check out Warwulf if you do like that style, or indeed stuff like Vlad Tepes and Mutilation. Although for me, this completely skips out on the depressive side that those bands have. So I don't know. You can see what you think. Next up, some more Doom in a very powerful and fun package. We have Spirit Adrift with their new album, Blinded. No, that's a song from it. No, it's not. What am I thinking of? Divided by Darkness. I was going to say another album title then. $20 spin. Put out this album. Features Chase from Gay Creeper and Nate Garrett doing some... Sorry, I forgot how to say that name. Some insanely nice harmonic vocals with Kayla Dixon's choral vocals. The drums are provided by I think these are the additional credits anyway to the main band, because I'm really bad with names, so complete apologies for that. But it basically is a few of the guys from Gay Creeper, and it's really, really stunningly driven kind of traditional heavy metal meets doom metal, but less mournful than Crypt Sermon and less traditional for sure. Songs like We Will Not Die that open the album and Tortured by Time, Born into Fire, they have this really anthemic sing-along feel while still keeping the mood very much intact that just really gets... I mean, I've listened to this so many times in the last couple of days since I bought it. Spirit Adrift are absolutely amazing, and I love this kind of really powerful, traditional, over-the-top heavy metal with some doom metal elements. I'm really enjoying that at the minute, and Spirit Adrift, I think, is one of the best bands for that. Now, while I'm talking about traditional heavy metal in a modern band, I don't think it gets any more traditional than Haunt. This is their debut album, Burst Into Flame, from Shadow Kingdom Records. It has all the energy of the early 80s new wave of British heavy metal like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Satan, Angel Witch, etc., etc. Haunt have that thing like White Wizard do, Monument, and some other... I mean, there's a whole bunch of these classic heavy metal bands, but I think Haunt is really the one that stands out from the crowd with these really kind of speedy kind of riffs, like in terms of early speed metal anyway, not like the blackened speed, black thrash, all that stuff, like traditional real speed metal, the way it started. They have this rhythm that's incredibly strong, these pounding drums, soaring guitars and vocals, and it's just melodic, fun, classic heavy metal, good times. So check out Haunt. They have a couple of albums, a couple EPs, splits, demos. They're working really hard on releases, and none of them have become subpar as a result, so that's the main thing. Now finally, another Dark Descent release for all you fans of things putrid, Ascended Dead. This is filthy, raw, crusty, evil death metal. This is Abhorrent Manifestations, not Decimation. That's a band. Ascended Dead just deliver this swampy, guttural, uncomfortable, classic death metal style that's just really in your face. It's very abrasive, and it's very enjoyable because of that. It's not kind of wimpy death metal. It's not melodic. It's not kind of even that groovy. It's just relentless. So check that out. I think this has actually been quite a nice balance in terms of black death and doom, maybe lacking slightly on speed and thrash, but you know, there's future episodes. Like I say, I'm stockpiling stuff for the next video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and until next time, stay metal.